And what we are seeing here, this seems to be a dream that is very positive. It seems as though the result of this dream, by just listening to what he's saying here, it seems as though if you have a dream like this, you might say to yourself, well, I think that this have a positive result. Because it seems as though there's nothing negative in the dream if we go over it again. He said that in his dream, he said, and let me read that over. And the chief butler told his dream to Joseph and said to him, in my dream, behold, a vine was before me. So there was a vine, and which was a grapevine, and in the vine were 3 branches, and it was as though it budded. So here we see that it seems as though things are moving fast within this dream. The vine appeared, then branches appear, then these branches start to bud, and then from the bud came forth ripe grapes. So it seemed as though everything was just happening very fast in the dream. And it tells us in verse 11, and Pharaoh's cup was in my hand, and I took the grapes, and I pressed them into Pharaoh's cup, and I gave the cup into Pharaoh's hand. So here we see that he's saying that he saw this dream, and in this dream there was a grapevine, and then the grapevine started budding, and then it bring forth fruit, and grape came forth, and here he saw himself, because he's in prison there. The butler is in prison, but here he's seen himself in this dream, and he said that he saw himself putting the cup, Pharaoh's cup, on these grapes, because the grape, it seems as though they just appear and they mature. And he saw himself in the dream putting the Pharaoh's cup under these grapes, and he pressing them. And the grape came out, and what he did, he presented the cup into Pharaoh's hands. And, he said he pressed them into Pharaoh's cup, and I gave the cup into Pharaoh's hand. So that's what I'm saying here. It seems as though that this dream was very positive. And if you was in the position of this cupbearer in prison, and you have that dream, you probably might be able to interpret that yourself. You might say, well, I see this dream, and maybe, there's a chance that I might be restored to my position. Because his former job, his job was to present Pharaoh's wine to him. And here he is seeing, in his dream that he was pressing the vine into Pharaoh's cup. And then not only that, but he gave Pharaoh the cup with the wine. So there's a good chance that he himself probably could have maybe suggest to himself, well, this might be the interpretation, and maybe I might be restored to my position. But here we see that he was still troubled, because he was a high-ranking person, and he accustomed having, if you have a dream, you're accustomed having professional interpreters who will interpret these dreams. But here we see, because he was in prison, and there was no one there he didn't have access to these professional interpreters that they had. He was worried, so therefore he is giving the dream to Joseph. And as I said last week, Joseph he never interpreted dreams before. At least the text never bear out to us and indicate to us that Joseph ever interpreted his dreams. As I said last week, it was Joseph's father and his brothers who interpret or try to interpret Joseph's dreams. So this is the first time, according to the text, that we are seeing Joseph is in action and he's interpreting dreams. So here we see in verse 12, Joseph is giving the interpretation, and Joseph said to him, this is the interpretation of it. The 3 branches are 3 days. So here we see that Joseph is not speculating. He's not, generalizing. He's not just saying things in a general way. He's giving a specific answer. He said that the 3 branches are 3 days. And it tells us in verse 13, right? Yet within 3 days shall Pharaoh lift up your head and restore you to your place, and you shall deliver Pharaoh's cup into his hands after the former manner when you were his butler. So Joseph is giving the butler here a very positive interpretation to his dreams. And what he's saying is that he is going to be restored. And he is going to be restored in 3 days' time. Pharaoh is going to lift up his head. The word when he said lift up his head, it means that this guy was disgraced. He was demoted. And the position that he had, he was put to shame. But here we see that in the interpretation here, Joseph is saying is that he will be restored. He will be lifted up. His head will be lifted up, and he is going to be restored to the position that he was in 3 days' time. Yet within 3 days shall Pharaoh lift up your head and restore you to your place, and he shall deliver Pharaoh's cup into his hand after the former manner when you were his butler. So the butler here, he have a positive interpretation to his dream, and it was two of them that have dreams. We have the butler and the baker. So the butler was the first one that go forth to ask for interpretation, and I kind of want to believe that because the butler was more positive. I think the butler was more positive in regards to the interpretation of the dream. He probably has some idea, or maybe he has something within his mind how the interpretation would have gone. So he was more positive to go forward and, give his dreams. But here we see that the baker, it seems as though the baker, he was more hesitant because his dream was not as positive as the dream of the butler. So here we see in verse 14. Verse 14. He said, but think on me when it shall be well with you. So this is, Joseph is speaking here. He gave the interpretation of the dream to the butler, and he's telling him that he's going to be restored back to his position in 3 days' time. But here Joseph is saying, but think on me when it shall be well with you, and show kindness, I pray you, unto me, and make mention of me to Pharaoh, and bring me out of this house. So here we see that Joseph is seeking favors from Pharaoh. And Joseph, I have to ask the question here whether or not if Joseph's faith, is Joseph's faith in the Most High God, was it weaning? Was he lost in losing faith in the Most High God? Because, according to the text, we never see where Joseph made any petition. He never made any petition to the Most High God to deliver him. But here we see, after he interpreted the dream of the butler, he is making a petition. He's telling the butler to remember him when he is restored to his position. Remember him, keep him in mind. We are in Genesis chapter 40, and we are down to verse 14. He's saying, think on me. Think on me. So that's why I'm asking the question to you guys. Did Joseph lose confidence in the Most High? Was he trying to seek for help somewhere else? It wasn't supposed to be the Most High God that he would have tried to, ask God to deliver him. But here we see that there's no evidence that he made any request to the Most High. But here we are seeing that after he interpreted the dream to the butler, he's trying to get the butler, or telling the butler to remember him when he get before Pharaoh to present his case, or to put in a good word, as we will say. Put in a good word for me. So did Joseph lose confidence in God? Why was he asking Pharaoh's butler to remember him?
Yes, what I do see here is like it just you see, and Joseph was made good friends. They became good friends. And Joseph was saying, when you go back to your father as a good friend, maybe you will come and see me. Now and then, going for time, pass and check that will still be the same place. You just made that point there in terms of when you go back to Pharaoh, and if there needed any enlightenment, maybe you could remember him, maybe you could help Pharaoh. But I don't think that he lost any confidence in God. He just, because he's not here, like people you grow up with, you grow up in your community. If they become a police officer, become a teacher or a lawyer, all of them go to school together. But once you occupy a good position, they forget you. You don't know anymore.
But you see, the point I'm trying to get here is that Joseph is a man of God.
Yeah.
Joseph is a man of God. Joseph is using his talent and ability to help other people. But where he is, there is no help for him. He's not being helped by the Most High God. And here we are seeing that instead of he make petition to the Most High God, he's making a petition to Pharaoh. So that's why I'm asking the question whether or not why would he make a petition to Pharaoh? And the text never shows that he made petition to the Most High God. Was he discouraged? Was he despondent? Was he losing confidence? Was Joseph feeling forsaken? As if, the Most High God don't care about him. And maybe his deliverance was not coming. And he was seeking deliverance elsewhere. Yes, go ahead.
What I will say is that, remember, Joseph just said to the butler,
yes,
that does not God interpret dreams?
Right.
So then he was conscious of God as the only one who can interpret dreams, right? But as Brother Lois said, as relationship, people having relationship tends to always look to one another for favor, and God can use an individual to bring about that favor. Sometimes it's not that really he lose faith or lose confidence, but by relating the dream to the butler and it becomes successful, he now relate to the butler and asking him, well, say something on my behalf, and God can work in that way the same way.
So it wasn't lack of faith on Joseph's behalf.
No.
Now let us suppose that you put an application in to get a job in a company, maybe let's say the city, and you know somebody in the city human resources. You're a person of God, you're a Christian, you know the Lord, you're praying to God to provide a job for you, and you know somebody in human resources. Will that be a lack of faith? You already petitioned God, you already trusting the Lord. Will that be a lack of faith for you knowing somebody in human resources in that department that you're looking a job? And you will say to this person, can you pull a string for me? Can you put a good word in for me? Would that be a lack of faith?
No.
Why not?
Because how do you know if God wants you to have that job?
How would you know?
How do you know? So you got to keep your faith, because maybe that job is not what God wants for you. You want that job, but maybe that job is not what God wants for you. So as a Christian, you got to keep your faith, trusting.
But how about the person who will say, if you really trust the Lord, you already petitioned the Lord, you already asked God to provide you with a job, and how come you go into somebody else and you're trying to, it's like you're trying to take a shortcut. If you so trust the Lord and you so believe in the Lord, why are you going to that person who have a connection? It's like you're trying to make a deal.
A deal, yeah.
It's like you're trying to make a deal. Is it right? Because you're already trusting the Lord. This is the point I'm trying to say. You trust the Lord.
Right.
Nothing is wrong with
You say that the Lord is going to work things out for you. But then you're still going to a man and you're trying I put this application in, could you put a good word in for me?
Nothing is wrong with that.
Exactly.
Nothing is wrong with that.
Faith is still there.
Right. As I said before, God said He will give us favor with men.
That's right.
So then, by asking the butler to say something for him is not really losing faith. It's just like because of the relationship and you do that for him. I can see the reasoning that where you're coming from, that it seems like you lose faith because you should not have asked the butler to do that.
Yeah, but the thing is, let's
So you don't
suppose,
lose faith on my
let us
part.
suppose in the way I'm putting it there, that you ask the Lord to provide you with a job, but then you know somebody in the human resources, and that you told her, you said to that person, can you pull a string for me? Can you put a good word in for me? And the person put a good word in for you, they pull a string for you, and you get the job. Who are you going to give the credit to? Are you going to say the Lord provide a job for you?
Yes.
Is the Lord providing?
Yes. The Lord used him.
Another point there, Pastor.
Will that be the Lord provide a job?
Yes.
But that's what.
The Lord used him.
Okay, all right, we're going to get to it.
What I'm saying, what a lot of us are realize. Okay, based on the system of the world today, you know what God wants? God wants we as Christians to be the commissioner of police, be the prime minister, be the chief. Yes, that's what he wants people to. All them different administration in our community. God wants us to be there. That's what he wants his people, because somebody in the Bible said, even in Caesar's house, God has people right there. So it's going to be much easy. But what happened now? We have the wrong set of people in positions there. But most of the time the system is okay. But there are wrong people in wrong places. So God wants us to be in these places.
All right, let me hit Sister Fraser. What you said? What you were saying?
God did not provide a job for this person.
Okay, let us say why. Okay, what you said that?
So when you know somebody in HR,
Right.
they could at least you could call them and they could pull some strings for you.
Right.
Sometimes, if you have to do that, it's better if you give that person all the information you have.
Right.
Then you go to that person in HR and you get the job. It doesn't mean that God provided a job for you.
Well, that's what I'm saying. There's something that is not so right there. That's what I'm saying. If you really trust the Lord and you petition the Lord, I mean, say if you want to take the other route, or you want to have a backup plan by saying, well, I'm going to ask my friend in HR to put a good word in for me. But then if the job comes true, I don't think you can really say that the Lord really provided. Because of the fact, I'm talking about somebody who could really put a word in, and somebody who could really get you the job, and you already pray about it, but then you're talking to this person, you know this person who can pull it off, and if this person pull it off, I don't think it will be fair for us to say, well, it's the Lord that did it. And how many times you hear people who come in church and they will have these kind of testimony, and they will say, well, the Lord did something. But then if you really investigate it, you will find out that, it's something like what we explained it happened.
But Pastor, God must work through people. God has to work through
That's
people.
right. You have to work through people.
Yes, you see
And
that?
how do you know that God is not working through you to tell that person to do that, to make the job for you?
Okay, what you say, sister, what do you want to say?
That's something else that
Right.
me will come for a job.
Yeah.
As they say, right? So God could already speak to her in her heart to already know somebody coming to her to say, I want to do it.
Well, listen.
Okay. For instance, in order for me to go to Canada to apply for my application, I needed a letter from you, right? And that letter from you is not saying, well then, I remove God.
Yeah, but I don't have no connection with Canada.
Right, you don't have no connection, but your letter link it and bring a connection. Your letter.
Yeah, but
creates a
I
connection.
think it's a little bit further than what we're going. I don't have any connection with Canada Immigration. I don't know nobody inside it. So
Right.
you want to give your letter and and God showed you favor through that letter.
That's okay. That's
it's
a
different.
different thing.
But then, how about if you know somebody? If you know somebody in Canada immigration who can put your papers through and make sure that you pass every test that you're supposed to pass, all of the things that is required, they just overlook it and they just shoot your papers through. Would you say it's the Lord that do that for you?
Sure.
No, you can't say that.
God can do that. God can do that. That's right.
Well, I would not.
Okay, well,
In a case like that, I will not give the Lord the credit for that. You know, if I have a situation like that where somebody in Canada immigration, you know, helped me to get my documents, or somebody in HR somewhere get me a job in HR, and I'm praying about a job. You know, yes, I will give God thanks, but I'm not going to come in church and say, I thank the Lord because the Lord provided me with a job. And lo and behold, when you go through the whole story, it's because you have a friend. You have somebody who has a strong connection in that department and give you that job. I personally, in the way how I see it, I will not give the credit to God and say, God, get me that job. I will say that person get me that job. Because I know that person, and that person have their links, and because of who they know, they get that job because of the fact that they are in that position to put you through. And the same thing goes as what the brother was saying here about the immigration thing. Anyway, we have to move on. That is how I feel about it.
Okay.
You know, if the Lord, I personally believe,
right, that's in your personal.
when I give the Lord credit, I pray about something. Lord, I'm trusting you for a job. You know, I don't know nobody down at City Hall. I go down there with an application, you know, and I drop an application off. And, you know, there's so much of people who have more qualification than me. And lo and behold, in spite of the people have more qualification than me, my application still seems to go through. Right. And God worked things out, and I get the job. Right. Then I could come and I could say, man, I thank the Lord, you know, because I put this application in, and you know, my credential was probably not as much as other people, but the Lord just showed things true for me, and then I could give God glory for that. But then if I know somebody in HR that can really put a word in for me, I will be very shy, very reluctant to give God credit for that. That is my point.
I agree that, Pastor. But when that person look at your qualification and your record, right? It is God who could inspire that person and say to that person, well, hey now, in spite of this fella you have the qualification, God impressed on that person. Give this man this job. Give him this job.
Yes, okay.
I got to just find an analogy. Okay, let's say, for example, you're going to the immigration, right? And there is a certain man, that man there is very hard on people. Very, very hard on people. And when you're coming in, right, and all people see that you rejected, and you know that person, and there's another person, right? So like the only person that you know is you know him. Would you leave here and go to another person?
If I know,
that person is very hard on people, and they come to the immigration.
Well, that's what human nature is. It's just like I personally, if I go in an office, if I have some application that I need to submit anywhere, and I go to an office and I see that there's a desk where a man is available, I would want to go to the man, because in my experience, you guys might disagree with me, I find ladies just be more hard dealing with you, especially when men go to ladies and they're in a position to do something. Most of the time, ladies have to be very hard. And sometimes you go to a man and the man tend to be, because you can relate to him. So I personally, if I have in that case, I would rather go to a man, instead of going to a woman, because I know that he might understand my issue, more. And so I understand what you're saying there. But the point that I'm trying to bring out here, even in the text here, the Most High God didn't allow the cupbearer to remember Joseph. Right. He didn't allow it to go through that way. Right. And we will see that. Okay, let's move. So here we see where we are now. In verse 14. But think on me when it shall be well with you, and show kindness, I pray you, unto me, and make mention of me before Pharaoh, and bring me out of this house. You want to get out from this house?
Yes.
Why he didn't petition the Most High God? Why didn't the text never said any petition the Most High God? But here we are seeing that Joseph is petitioned. He's sending a petition through the cupbearer to Pharaoh.
Right.
And that is the reason why I'm saying Joseph was a human being, just like any one of us.
Right.
So maybe his faith was getting a little bit weak. Maybe he was probably thinking, God has forsaken me. And maybe, it's because of the judgment of God coming down on me while I'm in this place. And I find it strange in the sense that he didn't petition the Most High, but here he's petitioning Pharaoh. He's asking the butler to get Pharaoh to look on his case. And he tells us, he said, in 15, for indeed I was stolen away out of the land of the Hebrews. So here Joseph is saying he was stolen away out of the land of the Hebrews. And here we are seeing here that Joseph, he is putting out the case of all of our ancestors. He is representing the case of all of our ancestors that was kidnapped, stolen from Africa, brought to America. And this is what Joseph is saying here. This is what he's highlighting. He said that he was stolen. We know that his brother stole him. But he sees it as that he was stolen, and he was stolen from the land of the Hebrews. Notice he said that he was stolen from what? The land of the Hebrews. And what does that mean? What is Joseph saying here? What is the meaning of that? He was stolen from the land of the Hebrews. You have to remember, according to the scripture, at that time, the family of Jacob was not that big. Because in the next 5 to 7 years or so, Jacob and his family, they will be coming down into Egypt, and they will be coming with 70 souls. So their family is not that huge. So why is Joseph using this term here that he was stolen from the land of the Hebrews? And what he's doing here, he's calling the whole land of Canaan, he's calling the whole land of Canaan the land of the Hebrews. And I was reading this morning one interpreter, Leopold. What he is saying is that all of those people that was living in Canaan, they were all considered to be Hebrews. And he said that the Canaanites, the Hittites, and all of the Cushites, and all of these ites that were living in Canaan, all of them was considered to be Hebrews. Because according to what Genesis chapter 10 tells us, there is only one group of people that is Gentiles. These people are not Gentiles. There's only one group of people that is Gentiles. And Gentiles is European, according to the scripture. So what they are saying, all of these people were Semitic. They were all Semitic, and it is believed that they all used to use the same language, or maybe understand the same. They all speak similar language, and they could understand each other. And this week, as I look at this text where you talk about he was stolen from the land of the Hebrews. I look at there's a Bible theologian I was listening to this week, and this Bible theologian, what he was saying, and this is a European theologian, and this is one of the honest European theologian, and what he was saying, he brought this to my attention. I never saw this before. He went to there's a scripture in the book of Exodus chapter 6. Exodus chapter 6. Let me go there and maybe we could just read that scripture so that I could get out what I'm talking about. Exodus chapter 6. Okay. Yes, on verse 25. He said, this is the verse that he was on. He said in verse 25 of Exodus chapter 6, and Eleazar, Aaron's son, took him one of the daughters of Peniel to wife, and she bore him Phinehas. Anybody ever hear about that name? Phinehas? Phinehas, that was Aaron's grandson. Phinehas, these are the head of the fathers of the Levites according to their family. What this theologian brought out is that Phinehas, when you interpret the name Phinehas, Phinehas it's an Egyptian name, and it's a name that either comes from Egypt or comes from Nubia. And what is happening here is that back in that time, Nubia and Egypt, they used to, like to become one country at some times. If you look on the map, you'll see Nubia, which is modern-day Sudan, is just south of Egypt. And what this interpreter is saying is that this guy Phinehas, he was a black person. I want that to settle in.
Yeah.
This theologian is saying that this guy Phinehas, he was a black person. We know that his father and mother, they were Hebrew Israelite people, because Aaron, he's a grandson of Aaron. Aaron and his wife, they were both Hebrew Israelite people. And we know that Aaron's son, Eliezer, he was a Hebrew Israelite. But what they're saying is that Eliezer, he married to this person, and there's a strong possibility that she probably was an Egyptian or she was a Nubian. So this guy, Phinehas, he was from this couple, and his name identified him as a black man. And what is so exciting about it is that the Most High God, when you go over in the book of Numbers, chapter 25, you will see there's an incident there where there was a Midianitish woman that was brought in the camp. Anybody remember that story? Where a Hebrew Israelite man brought a Midianitish woman into the camp, and they were committing sexual acts right in the congregation. And Phinehas, he was zealous for the Lord, and he took a spear, and he went and he just speared these two people in the act. He just pushed the spear through the both of them and killed them right in the congregation where they was. And what happened is that the Most High God gave Phinehas and his family, he conferred on Phinehas, the descendant, the whole priesthood, the whole Israelite priesthood was placed, or the lineage of the priesthood was placed on Phinehas. And the Most High God said that all of the priests that is going to come from that time, going right down through the ages, is going to come from the line of Phinehas. So what we are seeing here, according to these theologians, and I have a text here that I really wanted us to read. There was a text that I have here. I wonder if hold on a second. Okay. Did I have it? No. No, I don't have it. No, I don't have it. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that the whole lineage, or the descendant of all of the people who is going to be priests in Israel, came from the line of Phinehas. And what that is telling us is that the Israelite priesthood, those guys that were priests, they were all black people. That's the line that they came from. And I know sometimes some people, when you hear that, they kind of feel uncomfortable. The original Hebrew Israelite people was black. Right. It wasn't European. Right. And because when you read the Bible, you will see how careful these guys was to keep out contamination from the priesthood. Mm-hmm. You remember when they came back from, when they went into captivity, they came back from Babylon. I think it was Ezra and Nehemiah. They have some guys who were priests while they were in Babylon. And when Ezra and Nehemiah came back, these guys, they couldn't justify that they came from the lineage of Aaron. And what Nehemiah started doing, pulling out their beards, they started beating them because they couldn't provide any kind of a credential that they were from the line of Aaron. And what I'm trying to say is that they were making sure that the priesthood, anybody that go into the priesthood, that they come from the line of Phinehas, from Aaron coming right down to I think it's Ezra. They were from the line of this same guy Phinehas. So when, in closing, when we go back to Genesis chapter 41, when he said here, sorry, Genesis chapter 40, when he said that he was taken, which verse is that? 15. In verse 15. For indeed was stolen away out of the land of the Hebrews. He was stolen from the land of the Hebrews. He's calling the land of Canaan, the land of the Hebrews. And here also have I done nothing, that they should put me in this dungeon. So here he's saying he hasn't done anything. And it all corresponds to, our ancestors. Stolen from Africa. Did they do anything wrong? Did our ancestors, did they do anything wrong while they were stolen from Africa? Why were they stolen from Africa? The reason why our ancestors were stolen from Africa is because Europeans are greedy.
Yes.
Europeans greedy for gold, and another thing, they did not consider black people as human beings.
True.
They never considered black people as being human beings. And what they did, they used the Bible to enslave our ancestors.
True.
And when they put them on ships, shackled them, put them down, in the belly of these ships. And as I said before, some of these ships, in the whole of the ship was sometimes 3 or 4 feet in height. So you couldn't really stand up. So they had to put them down on the ground and shackle them together. And how much of these people died during that Middle Passage journey coming over from Africa. And then when they reach over here, they, doing them all manner of evil. Tormenting them, and they brutalizing them, doing them all kind of stuff. And it's because of the fact that they didn't really consider black people to be human beings. I was reading some time ago about this guy. He was a doctor. And they said that he is the father of gynecologists. Gynecologist is the doctor that deals with women, right? Am I right?
Yeah.
He is the father of gynecology. And this guy, they show you that during the early time, where he used to use these black slave women to experiment. And he designed this steel kind of mechanism. And he put in this steel mechanism in the vagina of these black women. And whatever experiment he's trying to conduct, and he's not using anesthetic because of the fact that they said that black people don't feel pain. Yes, it's out there. And even with these athletes, these black athletes that we have, the boxers and the guys that run, you see how they're excelling in that field. How black guys, black women, they're very, good in sports. What they're saying is that black people, the reason why they excel in sports is because they have a higher tolerance of pain. Yeah. And the reason why they're saying that is because it goes way back to where they're saying that black people can't feel pain. They don't feel pain.
Oh, so
and that's...
Sorry to cut
yes.
you off. I don't want to
go ahead.
What I'm going to say. That's why they put so much hard work on the black people and the job.
Well, that's the thing. They said that during that time, back in the time of slavery, they never considered our ancestors to be humans. And they said that they don't feel pain. And there are times that they will abuse them in such a way to see if they will react.
That's right.
They will ill-treat them. Yeah, I was, you remember last time we had the study on black history. We talk about the guy down in Jamaica and what he used to do when he take the slave and he will chastise them, he beat them with the whip, the cat o' nine tail. And then they said that he would pickle them because they don't feel pain, So when he chop up the slave back, you get the salt and pepper, mix salt and pepper, and you will throw it on that wound because they already said that they don't feel pain, and they will pickle them. So, getting back to what I was saying, it wasn't anything wrong that Joseph did while he was, sold or into slavery. And he used the word, he said he was stolen from the land of the Hebrews. And I think it corresponds to our ancestors who were stolen, kidnapped from Africa, brought over here to America, and they give their labor to all of these Europeans. And we look at these European countries today, and European countries, they have to do well.
Yeah, because
European countries have to do well. They don't have no reason not to do well, because European countries have 400 years in front of all the countries that had slavery. White people in America have 400 years experience or prosperity in front of black Americans. They have 400 years of people in front of people from Jamaica, people from Mexico, people from Cuba, people from Haiti, people from Barbados. That is the reason why these countries have to excel. It's like you taking the Jamaican 100-meter runner, what's his name, the one that retired? Bolt. You take Bolt. Bolt is the fastest runner in the world, and he's going to run 100 meter. And you say, Bolt, I want you to start 50 meters ahead of the other runners. What do you think will happen?
He will done reach and then still.
Yes, he will run that race, and he will go to the end of the race, and he sit down there, make a cup of coffee, sit down, and that's the reason why these European people, they have so much time on their hands now. They can go and do all these foolish games. They go out there golfing, and they're doing all these games because of the fact that their prosperity was already set up. And all this go back to slavery. So they have a 400 years head start.
That's right.
And that's the reason why sometimes when I say, when I talk about St. Vincent, I say that St. Vincent, people in St. Vincent catching the tail, and people in Grenada catching the tail. Yes, they're catching the tail. And it all go back to slavery. The reason why these countries is so hard, it doesn't matter how much the politician in these countries try. These countries not going to get ahead because of the fact that they were under so much pressure. These European countries raped these countries for so long, and even 200 years, 250 years after slavery, they're still struggling. The effect still down there. I think maybe the only Caribbean country that probably shake off slavery and progressive is maybe Trinidad and Tobago. And it's because Trinidad and Tobago have oil. They have a lot of oil. That's the reason why they were able to shake that off. But all of these places, even Barbados, you have people who's suffering and struggling in Barbados too. They will show you people who probably doing well, but everybody not doing well in Barbados. And that's the reason why I'm saying that all of these European countries, that's the reason why they can have so much millionaires. You see how much millionaires you have in places like France and England and even Canada here and the United States. The United States have, I think is more than 1 million people. No, 17.3 million people in the United States who is millionaire. I wonder how much people is millionaire down in Grenada. I wonder how much people is millionaire down in St. Vincent. Maybe you have a few. How much people is millionaire down in Jamaica. People down there still struggling, And these people, in these European countries, they will make $1 million in no time at all. So let me just wrap it up here. We'll pick it up next week also. Then, anybody have any question or comment that you'd like to make before we close up?
Yeah, I would like to make a comment concerning. No, we never touched the point on the reason why God sent Joseph down there.
Right.
Now let me come on to that point. There is something called oral language. Oral language that is spoken word. Right? And you have the written word. So Egypt was the first country to have to invent writing and the alphabet and have university. So the whole word was used to transfer, like for example, Aaron was my mother. Right? She passed information to me. And so you continue to go and say oral language. So God chose Joseph to send him to learn. So he comes from Moses, right? Up to Moses. Then the Bible says Moses learned all the education of the Egyptian. So Moses now document all this information. So he passed it to me, so he called that the written word. So the first one was the oral language. So you have something called etymology. Etymology is the one when you study the origin of words. So you study the origin of words, and after the course of history, it changed, a lot of changes. So that is the thing they have to keep intact, and the Bible is the one that keep intact with all the information to tell that to Moses.
But you have to remember too that the prophecy was given by the Most High God to Abraham that his descendants, they are going to spend 400 years in a land that is not theirs.
But that is the main reason why God did that, for to transfer the words to Moses get education. So as I said, all Moses know all what happened before people couldn't.
But yes, right. We agree that they learn all of that, but that is in fulfillment of that prophecy that they have to go down there and spend this amount of time down there in the land of Egypt. Because also another thing that we have to is that the scripture said that the iniquity of the Amorite was not yet full. In other words, those people, all of the ites, the Amorites, the Canaanites, and all of these ites that were living in the land of Canaan, God still have mercy on them and give them time to repent. So therefore, that's why he allowed Israel. And when we talk about Israel, I know we already gone. Anytime you hear I mention Israel, don't put your eyes on modern-day Israel. Modern-day Israel is not biblical Israel. Modern-day Israel, they are from the line of Japheth, they are Ashkenazi, they are Gentiles. And anytime you hear I say Israel, don't ever get it in your mind that Pastor Duncan is talking about modern-day Israel. Modern-day Israel is a racist country. And you think the Most High God is going to choose a country as modern-day Israel that is so racist against people of color, black people. Look how they're treating African people. But you guys have been in the news? You don't see the big prison. Israel have one of the biggest prisons in the world. And they built that prison that they could incarcerate people from Africa. Because Benjamin Netanyahu, he wants to get out all of the Africans. And when he picked them up, he gave them an opportunity to leave. And I think he offered them a certain amount of money. And if they don't leave, he is going to incarcerate them for life. So apartheid, Israel is an apartheid state.
That's right.
And it's just like South Africa. And anytime you hear me talking about Israel, I'm not talking about those people over there. Because they are not Israel. They are Europeans. And they are Gentiles. And according to what Revelation tells us, they are of the synagogue of Satan. You know, that's what Jesus himself said. They pretend.
Yeah.
They blaspheme. He said that you know the words of those who say they are Jews and are not. They blaspheme and they are from the synagogue of Satan. And that scripture it's in the second chapter of Revelation and the third chapter of Revelation. I think it's verse 9 in both chapters where the Most High God said that. So it goes in, anytime you hear I mention Israel in this church, I'm not talking about those people over there because they are not the people. The original Hebrew Israelite people is black people, people with melanin in their bodies, and the Bible proves it. Amen. So we will close there for today. Lord bless us. Amen. Most High God, we thank you.